Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Connor Knowles, and this is the Nerdic Gods podcast, episode 252, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Joining me, as always, Daniel Navaroli.
What's up, gamers?
Danny, welcome back.
Thank you.
Please stop leaving me with that British man. He's scary.
What did he do to you?
I don't want to talk about it.
Connor, point on the Mario where he touched you. Tell me when. Was it here?
Right where his little buttons attach on the front.
It was right here.
Yeah, both of them.
Right there.
He rubbed those in slow circles.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he at least use ice?
Did he use what? Ice?
Ice.
He got some snow from outside. Put it on there. It's not central now. This actually sounding kind of nice, if I'm being honest.
You were complaining about it.
Man, changed my mind, Was consensual. Then it wasn't. Now it is again.
Oh.
There and back again. All right, we should make jokes like that. Daniel, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Well, need a haircut. We were talking about that before the show.
Really bad.
You do.
Yeah. It's super long.
Now that I'm looking at it, it's like, yeah, you need a haircut, bud. Yeah.
It's worse in the back too.
Yeah.
I just need to get a haircut.
Are you a hat guy at all?
Only at work.
Only at work.
Wear one.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I mean,
just for that,
if it's super cold, I'll put a beanie on.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like, no, I'm going out for a while.
Yeah.
If I'm like just going to the store,
Are
probably.
you one of those like you'll get inside and take the beanie off though type of thing?
It depends. I guess if I'm like going out and doing stuff, probably not.
Yeah. Because I'm much like you right now. I put off my haircuts for just super long periods of times, and I just put a hat on, and forget about it.
Yeah. Well, the problem was this stupid hurricane storm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Delayed my
that
haircut,
doesn't help. That doesn't help. Yeah.
Indefinitely.
Everyone got blown away, so it's like who's gonna cut my fucking hair?
Exactly.
What were you doing during COVID?
It's a good question.
Were you one of those like shaving it yourself type guys?
I feel like I still was getting haircuts.
Were you getting away with it?
I was. Yeah.
Well, you got that lady, right? You said that's like a family friend, right, or whatever. So maybe she was down.
Not a family friend, but like my grandma was going to it for a long time.
Sure.
So I feel like I was just masking up.
You hit her up and be like, "Yeah, hey, cut my hair real quick." Yeah.
I don't remember it getting this long. There's probably a couple months span of like waiting, but like I don't remember it being.
Definitely remember like a 6-month period where I didn't cut my hair.
Yeah. Was it It was 2020.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess was that before our webcams.
That was before our webcam.
Before my
probably.
Webcam, at least.
I don't. We turned our phones on pretty quickly though, from what I remember when we were doing the show.
Did.
Yeah.
Took me a while.
Did it? Okay.
I had like a computer set up.
Weird times.
Yeah. I was just doing it on my phone.
I was in the basement.
Yeah, you were in some bunker.
Doing this show for a long time, man. Shit, it's been like 5 years. I've been doing this show for forever. It's weird because like, I don't even like really think about it anymore. It's just like I don't know. I just kind of do this on Thursdays. It's like I don't know. Whatever. Just come on here, talk about some games. It's a good time.
Yeah, we're over 252 episodes.
Jesus Christ, that is a lot.
Technically, it's 253.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I know because whenever Sacred Symbols says theirs, I'm like, oh, one day we'll catch up, but we won't because they always do theirs weekly too.
Yeah.
So
what are they at right now?
I don't remember, but they say the number too. They're like one of the few podcasts that actually say the number they're on too. So I'm always like,
what are they on? Yeah, I think
they did 300 recently.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did 300.
At least somewhat recently. That was like this year, I believe. So they're probably on like 350 almost. No, no, that can't be right. 320-ish, I'd guess. When did Sacred start? That was I think it was 2018 when they started officially. Because I remember them, I think it was like the lead up to Spider-Man. So they probably started summer 2018.
This newest one on YouTube is 335.
335, okay.
So that's the newest one on YouTube. Yeah, they started what, 2019? So
I think it was 18
or 2018.
Yeah.
I mean, we started in the very beginning of. We were going to start at the end of 2019. But
were we talking about? Were we talking
in like November 2019? Yeah.
Interesting. November 2019. We were talking really
somewhere around there. Yeah.
You're talking that early.
It was right at the right at the end, and then it took us a little bit to like get Discord going and then get going with everything.
I remember Sims called us for like the first time, and like we
Yeah.
were all on FaceTime. And I remember hanging up and being like, I might never talk to those guys again.
Oof, only if you wish, right?
Right. Should have done that. Go back, Connor, please.
Don't answer.
Now I'm here 5 years later talking about fucking haircuts with you. Anyways, Daniel, been another busy week in the world of video games. Not really. I say that every week now.
I think people are just playing a lot of games. That's kind of where we're at. Still.
Yeah, good period. Well, I mean, of course, there's still layoffs, so got to get the last ones of those in.
Yeah.
Got to run the numbers up before the end of the year a little bit.
I'm lucky I've been off social media for like 2 weeks.
Oh, have you? Okay. Didn't join fucking Blue Sky or whatever?
No, I just kind of like busy, and I'm like, I don't really even want to be on there. So
yeah, don't even look at it.
I only really did it for news anyways, but like, and like sports stuff. But yeah, I just haven't really touched like X or.
It's some interesting news stories while you're gone. The whole PlayStation might be acquiring that one company thing, Katakawa.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Katakawa, yeah.
There was something else bigger. I can't remember. Oh, Game Awards nominees.
The Game Awards stuff, yeah. I was sad that was the episode like right when I was.
Oh, that you missed, yeah.
I missed,
yeah. That took me and Sims a whole. It took us 90 minutes to get through the whole thing. I was just like, damn, okay, that took us forever.
I could have ranted.
Yeah. 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 How do you feel about Erd Tree getting nominated Game of the Year?
Oh boy, you want to go? You actually want my opinion on it?
Oh, I do. I definitely do.
Well, I think it's complicated. Should a DLC be nominated for a Game of the Year? Absolutely, in no way, shape, or form should it be. But it should have its own category. And if they didn't want it to be considered DLC, they shouldn't have. They should have made it a standalone thing. There's other things that From and Bandai Namco could have done. It's a DLC. You can't launch the game without having Elden Ring. It by itself. That doesn't make any sense why it should be Game of the Year. Elden Ring already had awards. It's been, 2 years ago? So
yeah,
it doesn't need to be. This should be spotlighting games that came out this year, not DLC that came out this year.
Basically what I was saying, like it's additive to the game, like it
you
just
have
doesn't
to actually have Elden Ring to be playing this
right
game.
it's like it's called DLC. An add-on for a reason, like it is add-on to
it's
Elden Ring. Exactly. It's just like plus they already have best ongoing game, like you could technically put Erd Tree in that category,
or a DLC expansion,
right? There should be a DLC expansion category, 100%. Like why
always
great? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, every year.
Like Lightfall last year, like that. Like that's awesome. That's a lot of people's Game of the Year last year. Phantom Liberty.
Yeah, it's like why wasn't that nominated for Game of the Year then?
Exactly.
What are we doing here?
And not to like hate on Erd Tree or anything. I love Elden Ring, one of the greatest games of all time. But like it's just it doesn't make any sense when games. We should be celebrating other games that should be in that category, like a Helldivers 2 or something, or whatever. Like there are other games, like a Dragon. There are plenty of other games that could have been actually celebrated in this category instead of DLC.
It 100% should have been like a Dragon in there. 100% should have been like a Dragon. 100%.
People need to be playing.
You could pick the best 6 games of the year, and you're not going to put like a Dragon in there. Get out of here.
Or even Tekken. I don't know.
Yeah, Tekken could have been in there too. Yeah.
I'm getting angry. I'm getting angry.
Yeah, it's like ultimately, I don't really give a fuck if you want to do that. Fine, whatever. But it's just I don't know. Like, like think about it a little before you do that.
What I would question is why. I know Keeley doesn't like to step in and get involved. He usually just lets the people that vote. What morons are voting for this game as Game of the Year?
Right. Yeah,
maybe they just shouldn't be voting for Game of the Year.
Maybe
that's why he put out that.
People get like really upset about this. I would like a closer look at like who's actually voting on Game of the Year too. That and like I would like a way to like actually make sure who's voting on this. Did you play these games? Like, did you beat them? Like thoroughly?
Or was it just Elden Ring?
And like I know sometimes it's like a team is the one vote. Did someone on the team at least beat this game? That's what I would like to know. For like a lot of these, because a lot of these companies, I'm like, I would bet none of you played this. It's like sometimes it just ends up being a popularity contest.
Yeah, and that's why Like a Dragon's not there.
Right.
It's like how many people really beat that game. I mean, it's another long RPG.
Right.
It's cool that Metaphor's there. I love that,
Yeah.
even though that's a long RPG. But is it also that Like a Dragon was so early in the year?
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe that gives people more chance to beat the game, but it clearly not.
You'd think.
People just didn't play that game.
And then you get into the whole like December releases, and it's always just like, okay, Game Awards is not technically, but like really, it only runs 11 months, right?
Or 10.
Right? Yeah, or 10. Yeah, sometimes November games do slip in there sometimes, but like really, the cutoff is November 15th, and really, it's just any game released through November 15th till the end of the year never gets nominated. And no, yeah, exactly. Like, can you ever? Last time I remember a December game actually getting nominated for something was Smash, right? And it's like that game's so big that like that it actually gets through.
That might be the last big one.
Right? Yeah, and it's like even that was 2018. That was 6 years ago already. It's just there's always a big December game, and we're just always neglecting that. And it's just
it should be in January.
100% should be in January.
That's when we do our awards. It gives us time. We do like the first week in January to give us time to like play things.
Plus, like with everyone being off for so many weeks over the holiday, gives them more time to actually play these games and then vote after that, and then do it at like the end of January. I don't see what the problem is with that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Another shout out, Balatro. Yeah. Come on,
Danny. I've been playing Balatro.
Let's go, baby.
Balatro's good. I got my first win. It was fucking awesome.
See, I haven't even done that. You probably played more than me at this point.
Yeah, maybe I played probably like 5 to 7 hours. I guess and all.
That's I probably. We might be around the same. I have not beaten.
Yeah, it took me a while to get a win. I had to get lucky. It was I got to the end and I had a joker that if I had 25% of what the bet was, the amount you got to hit, if I had 25% of that, you win the round still. And I got that in the last round. And I was like, oh, let's go. I was able to save that card all the way. Yeah, I think so. I think it was a rare joker. That's a tough one to get. Well, dude, they fucked me over the first time I got to the last round. The like special thing was get 300,000. So it was like the bet went up when really it was 100,000 the second time I got there, the time I won, and then it was 300,000 the first time I got there. I was like, well, I'm fucked. How the fuck am I supposed to get 300,000? It's like I'd have to get so lucky to get that. But yeah, Flacho, good time.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome. It's there. I keep telling you this, and on the show since I've been playing it. And I hope that more people go out and play it now that how popular this game is Slay the Spire, because it's just a better game than this game, and it didn't get.
Is it similar? Maybe I should try it.
Yes, it's a little different in how you do things because it isn't poker. Like you're not just playing, like standard poker hands.
Right,
you're playing like
poker hands.
You're using cards as like moves more. But it is a deck builder. It's similar. Like you are like going through stages. There's like levels. I think there's like 3 levels in order to beat the thing. And you're like, it's a roguelite. So you start with a certain deck of cards and then you're like building moves and stuff. But it's just a better game. It's way more involved. There's a lot more. I think it's a bigger team that made it too. Like Balatro is just one guy.
Yeah, that one guy. Yeah, awesome for him getting nominated for. That's fucking incredible, man. He's got to be right.
I just like to see that win at this point.
That'd be fun. I'd be down for it.
An indie game has never won.
Yeah,
Keely's thing.
It has really. That never happened.
I mean,
yeah,
unless you consider It Takes Two, but that's still EA.
Yeah, I would consider that AA more than indie. Yeah, I guess you're right. I can't think of one either.
It's always a AAA game.
That'd be cool. That'd be very cool. The one guy on stage, that'd be fucking awesome.
Get the one guy that did everything. That's awesome.
Yeah, that'd be really cool if he won. Yeah, loving Blatra though. Good time. And once I got over like the learning curve, I was like, oh, okay, I'm into this. And then it was like, because I got it on like a Saturday, and like honestly, that whole Saturday when I was playing, I was like, I don't like this. And then I kind of got past the learning curve and like figured out everything. And then that Sunday, I was just addicted to it. I was playing like 3 hours straight, type thing. And then it took me a couple weeks there where I was just playing 1 or 2 games a day until I was getting the win. Now that I got the win, I kind of died off it, but still a good time.
Yeah, I'm glad you checked it out. I remember like talking about this game early in the year.
Yeah, when did it come out? It must have came out like way earlier this year.
It was super early, like
February maybe.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I remember being pretty early onto the game because I heard about it and then downloaded it.
Yeah, I remember talking about it on the show. Open Critic score.
Yeah,
and then I remember hearing about it from there.
And then I brought it on the show, whatever yeah, whatever
whatever week.
episode that was. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad it's so popular. It's awesome to see.
It is very cool. All right.
Tree needs to kick rocks.
Yeah. I really like Air Tree too. Like, don't get me
It's a
wrong, I
great.
played it.
It's
Yeah, no,
awesome.
it's fucking awesome. But yeah, it should not be nominated for Game of the Year. Stand by that.
No.
Daniel, speaking of Air Tree, let's get into our first news story. Hidaki, how do you pronounce his name? Hidetaki.
Let me see. Yeah, Hidetaka.
Hidetaki Miyazaki?
Miyazaki.
Getting close. One of these days I'll pronounce his name correctly. Anyways, he's the president of FromSoft. He has said that that FromSoft is not currently developing Elden Ring 2, but says the team is working on multiple new projects and doesn't shut down Elden Ring 2 in the future. Daniel, he also didn't shut down that they are working on something in the Elden Ring universe. So I don't know, something interesting going on there. Maybe they're working on something. Maybe it's just a side Elden Ring thing. Who knows? But the team, obviously, there's like two teams there, right? There's the team that just made Armored Core, team that just made Elden Ring, team that made Erdtree. So, which I'm assuming was just a spawn off of the Elden Ring team, just in general. So, yeah, we know this developer typically has two teams going on two projects at the same time. So yeah, they are working on multiple games, but they are not Elden Ring 2, which I find very interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me yet. What I would guess is like From Software's gonna take a small couple year break. Both of these teams, like they both pumped out a lot of games very quickly. So I would assume the Armored Core team would still come first, whatever they're making. So I don't know if it would be like an Armored Core 7. I'm not sure. This team is probably going to do, I would assume something fantasy still. I don't know if they're going to go back to Dark Souls, or even Demon Souls, but I think it's probably going to be fantasy, just their own new thing. I think Elden Ring 2 is probably going to be a ways away. That's what I would guess. I wouldn't think this next sequel would be even a spin-off of Elden Ring.
Yeah, I think I was thinking initially that they would just roll right into Elden Ring 2, kind of like how they seem to have done with Dark Souls in the past, because those Dark Souls games came out pretty quickly, right? And so, I mean, within a decade, all of them, right? So I think I was assuming that they were just going to do the same with Elden Ring, do Elden Ring 2,
like
Elden Ring
6
3.
years, all three of them.
Right, yeah. So it's like, I think I was assuming that they would go that path with Elden Ring. But I don't know, maybe they want Elden Ring 2 to be more of a generational thing, once a generation type of thing. Do an Elden Ring game, make it a bigger deal when it does actually come in like fucking 2035 or whatever the fuck, And yeah, that sounds fun to me. I mean, this team, they can do no wrong at this point, right? So it's like they can really make whatever they want. And I get that they would want to make something else, right? I mean, look, they made Bloodborne and Sekiro in between the Dark Souls games as well, and one after it, and in between Elden Ring as well. So it makes sense to me that they would want to make something new as well after being in the world of Elden Ring so long, with making Elden Ring and then Erdtree too, right?
Yeah, as much as I want Bloodborne 2, it's not going to be that. Maybe it's just a new IP.
Yeah.
Some sort of. It'd be really cool. I don't know if they would do it, at least right now. I mean, I guess they kind of do it with Armored Core, but like do something sci-fi, but also keep it Soulsy.
Yeah.
Like Soulsy combat in a sci-fi world would be interesting.
Yeah, they seem to like their different genres within the fantasy genre. Like, I know Sekiro isn't necessarily fantasy, but still swords and shields and all that shit,
like
right?
Japan.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, close enough. So maybe they just do something else in that. Maybe more, I don't know. I guess Elden Ring kind of is the more light fantasy type of thing, rather than the dark fantasy that is Bloodborne, right? It's that's kind of more of the light side, and Dark Souls somewhere in the middle there. Maybe they try to play around in that area again still. I don't know. He did say a little while back that he still hasn't made his like ultimate fantasy game yet, right? So you gotta imagine that is somewhere in the cards. Maybe that's not what he's making next, or his idea for that is what's next, but maybe Elden Ring 2 is that, and they just don't get to that for a long time still. I don't know. The Bloodborne 2 would be interesting. I could see it. I mean, I don't know if that would be next. I could see it being next if this PlayStation acquisition goes through with Katakawa, and then them owning a vast majority from Soft. Maybe then PlayStation's like, all right, yeah, hey, we'll we'll go ahead and make whatever, but also make a Bloodborne 2. Maybe at that point, but yeah, I would agree. It's probably not what they're currently making right now.
What's the newest update on that? How far is that going?
The Kadokawa thing.
Acquisition? Yeah.
So it's, I don't know. I mean, all that's come out recently is it seems like Kadokawa are the ones pushing Sony to be purchased.
They want to be sold.
Yeah, it seems like they want to be sold, or they might be hostily taken over by a South Korean company. It seems so. It seems like they don't want that, and they're kind of trying to.
Kadokawa's Japanese, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Kadokawa's Japanese, and yeah, so it seems like some South Korean company might hostilely take them over if no one acquires them soon. So I don't know, and it seems like they're trying to nudge Sony into purchasing them outright. But now it seems like Sony doesn't want like a vast majority of what Kadokawa.
They do other things.
They do a lot of other things. Yeah. I mean, it seems like Sony wants the anime for sure. And then obviously they would want the video game side. But then there's like everything else. Like they do stuff with like magazines and like porn and shit, you know? So
are you saying that, that you don't want Bloodborne porn?
I mean, I'll be down. So yeah, it just I don't know. They're gonna have to work that out, and it might end up being that Sony acquires them, but then sells off like half the shit. Is I think what they were theorizing on Sacred mostly. So I don't know. They're gonna have to work out the kinks and all the details there. So I don't know. I'd imagine we don't actually hear anything, or nothing gets solidified until early next year. So we probably won't hear about it for a while again.
That makes sense. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're gonna get a Bloodborne 2. I don't, without like From Software. I don't know if PlayStation's an interesting company, but I don't know if they're stupid enough to let someone else take that. Even a team that's like people like Bluepoint, I don't know if they want to risk an IP like that that isn't the real team making it. You know, like
no, I mean, especially if this acquisition goes through, there's no way they're gonna have someone else do a Bloodborne 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I really want Bloodborne 2. That's the thing I probably want the most. It's like, as much as I like Elden Ring, it's still pretty much Dark Souls, just with more things in it. Like Bloodborne is at least something different and unique, and the fighting is unique and different. It's more dodging and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm assuming it's probably a new IP for this next one.
Yeah, I would guess so too. I mean, one thing I forgot to bring up too last week with the whole acquisition talk is I wonder what happens to Bandai Namco then. That would take so much away from Bandai Namco, because what's also under Kadokawa is Spike Chunsoft, who just made the Dragon Ball game, and they make all those other random anime fighting games and stuff too. Yeah, shit like that, and that's also under Bandai Namco. It's just if Sony does acquire Kadokawa, that takes away a huge amount of stuff from Bandai Namco. Like that would really hurt their business overall. So I don't know. I'd be very
been thinking that From would go with them. They've published a lot of their games.
Yeah, it doesn't even. Clearly, Kadokawa and Bandai Namco work very clearly together. It's with Spike Chunsoft and all that, and then obviously Elden Ring, Bloodborne, or not Bloodborne, but Elden Ring, FromSoft, all that. So clearly, they have a very close relationship. But I don't know if Bandai Namco could afford that.
Yeah, who knows what their financials are like. I mean, they probably have a pretty good year, a pretty good couple years. I mean, they just did Tekken as well. So
yeah, Tekken, dude, that Dragon Ball game sold. We were talking
Dragon
about
Ball. I mean, Bloodborne's or not Elden Ring. It's selling really well for them too.
Oh yeah, huge. But yeah, that Dragon Ball game sold. It's the 4th highest selling game in the U.S. already for the year. Yeah. Which is crazy, yeah.
I didn't think we put that in our top in the top 10 or in our guests.
No, I never would have guessed that. Yeah, so that game.
I mean, Dragon Ball is just a huge IP. I guess.
Yeah, man. I guess people were really anticipating this one too. So that game fucking sold. But yeah. So I wonder what would happen to Bandai in that whole scenario there.
Yeah, because PlayStation would not really deal with them. I would assume like they would just self-publish all of this stuff.
Unless I was theorizing last, like, what if Kadokawa just remains its own separate entity under Sony still, but like a lot like how Activision is under Microsoft right now, right? What if it just stays like that, and then maybe Bandai still publishes things under that? But I don't know. I still imagine
do they have the right of
Sony
refusal
then.
For anything like that?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how that would work.
What happens with Elden Ring IP or?
What I also wonder is, Elden Ring IP got sold back to FromSoft earlier this year. which
Oh, did it?
yeah,
Okay.
so FromSoft outright owns the Elden Ring IP now, which is also interesting because there was apparently discussions about this way earlier than the year with Sony and Kadokawa. So you have to wonder if that has something to do with it as well. But I wonder what would happen to all these anime games. Like, who owns the IP to that? Like, who owns the IP to Dragon Ball games? You know, like, would Sony then be able to publish
Well,
a Dragon Ball Sparking Zero 2 type thing?
the weird thing there is if you go up the chain. So like who owns the Dragon Ball IP? Because it's like it's a Shonen Jump thing, isn't it? So then like who owns that? Does like Funimation own the anime rights? I'm
Right.
pretty sure. And I think Sony bought Funimation and Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
So does like in some way Sony still weirdly owns the IP to Dragon Ball? Or like owns a part of the IP of Dragon Ball?
Yeah. Like a
And just not the
percentage in there.
game?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Sony has like a big stake in anime and in music. Um so I don't that's an interesting question. That's a thing you'd have to untangle because
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I imagine the discussions are going on right now. Like, because there's just it's a whole mess there between Bandai, Sony, and Tencent too, right?
Yeah,
It's
Bandai
a
pumps anime games.
right, yeah. So it's just like I don't know how they're gonna figure that all out. That's why they're probably gonna sell off a lot of these things. And like, if it does go through, like I'd be worried for a lot of the smaller studios, just on the game side, and like not even considering the magazines and all the other random shit that Kadokawa owns, because it's like if Sony outright owns a lot of them, there's gonna be a lot of layoffs, not in just video games, but just across the whole board of everything Kadokawa owns.
Yeah, that sadly doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, it's like they own Acquire too, who just made that the Mario and Luigi game.
Oh yeah.
They were the main developers on that, and then they've also developed Octopath Traveler, and they just got bought by Kadokawa outright earlier this year, I think. So it's like I'd be worried for them if Sony goes through with it, right? It's like, and I don't know if Sony's gonna keep them around. I mean, I don't think they touch FromSoft or Spike Chun with how much money they rake in, but yeah, like companies like Acquire, I'd definitely be worried about.
Man, you wouldn't think they'd keep them and then make like whatever Legend of Dragoon remake or
Maybe, but
whatever.
it's like I don't.
Yeah.
How much is that going to sell for them? You know.
Yeah, it depends on what they're looking at, right?
Mhm.
Like have them be a support developer or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's also a
Yeah.
lot of other mobile games that Kadokawa owns. A lot of I forget what it was. It's like the Gotcha company or something like that Kadokawa owns. They
Oh,
make
fantastic.
yeah,
Gotcha
great,
games.
yeah. And I wonder if that has something to do with Sony just shutting down that mobile studio earlier this year. If they're like, okay, we're gonna own these guys soon, so whatever, let's just get rid of this mobile company that's
We're gonna
not
make
doing
a
anything for us for a
Horizon
minute.
gotcha game.
Oh, it's coming at you. So yeah, I don't know. Very interesting. What the hell news topic were we talking about? Oh yeah, Elden Ring. Not
Yeah.
Elden Ring 2. Not Elden Ring 2. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, FromSoft. We will see what they're doing in the future. I'm sure it can't be too far off from an announcement of their next game. Maybe next year.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be in 2 years.
2 years. The announcement
Or for the release probably.
for the release. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean they tend to work pretty quick. I think Elden Ring it got announced I think 2019 at the Xbox event. And then it came out in 2022, early 2022. So it was like 2.5 years. So maybe maybe it's a little bit. Maybe it's 2027. Maybe you get like an announcement like summertime next year, and then it comes out in 2027, something like that.
That'd
But
be cool.
let Miyazaki cook. Like this is like
Let the man cook.
he. I mean, there are very few people I think game directors that are like in that upper echelon or even above him. It's very few. It's like Miyamoto, Kojima, Miyazaki, Ken Levine, maybe, even though he's only done a small amount of games, but like
I don't
Miyazaki's
even know if I'd
in
put him
that
up there,
boat.
honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just it's not that he's not great, but like just too little amount, right? It's like
yeah.
you have two compared to Miyazaki's. How many does he have now? Like
I
fucking
mean,
7, 8.
he hasn't missed. Yeah, and they're all even the worst game that he's done, which he wasn't even a director of, was still great, which is Dark Souls 2.
Yeah,
It's like he didn't even direct that game, but it was still a great game.
yeah.
Like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to even compete with those type of things at this point. All right, yeah. Elden Ring 2, maybe someday, 2030s.
Maybe someday.
Our next news story: Ubisoft's X Defiant will be getting fully shut down next June, just a little over a year after the game officially launched. Along with this news, Ubisoft will also be closing down studios in San Francisco and Osaka, which will result in 277 lost jobs. Daniel, more layoffs. I forget, we got layoffs somewhere else too this week. I can't remember. It's gone.
I'll let you think about that. I played X Divine. You remember I talked about it on the show. It's a pretty solid like Call of Duty clone, and like that's pretty much what they were going for. They weren't trying to reinvent the first-person shooter wheel. You know, they were kind of just doing what Call of Duty does, with like hero abilities as well. So like one of the older Call of Duties, and also just making it free to play, which I think they were trying to do another Siege type game, just have it go for years. And it played well. I wasn't crazy about like a lot of the character abilities. I think it needed a little work there. Um, but it wasn't a bad game. It had definitely a bad name. X Defiant's an awful name. But yeah, it kind of sucks that it feels like they didn't commit too hard to it, or they should have committed harder. I don't know. Like, it's not like it was a bad product and it just flopped, like Concord. But like this actually was a good game.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the another one, right? Like, how many times do we hear the same fucking story? Oh,
DJ Khaled.
Another one, right? It's just, hey guys, here's another first-person shooter multiplayer game with that we're trying to compete with, you know, all the other random multiplayer games that are out there now, and guess what? It didn't work. You know, it's just. It is so hard to break in this space. It is almost impossible at this point.
Especially trying to compete with Call of Duty.
Right.
It's like this wasn't even like competing with battle royales. Like,
yeah.
This was trying to like we're being a Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
It's like that's tough. Like Battlefield's been trying to do that, and like those are great games.
Decades at this point.
Yeah,
you know,
Battlefields are great games, but it's like they're not even competing with Call of Duty. It's like Ubisoft, you got to really commit if you're going to compete with them.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Especially with like this year's. This year's is one of the best.
Yeah. You know, I keep rethinking of that news story earlier this year that, what was it, 70% of games that people are playing are over 6 years, years or older, you know?
And the rest of them are sports games and Call of Duty that come out every year.
Right. Yeah. And it's so hard to be an Elden Ring or Hogwarts that like
or I
breaks
was
through.
Say Hogwarts,
and like, like those are really the only two that like are new single player games that really break through and are able to capture people's attention, and like a lot of people's
or
attention.
Or even Helldivers, I guess.
Yeah, that too. That's even like one of the few that's able to break in there. I mean, Power World, stuff like that. There's stuff that does break in, but you got to be like unique. You got to be doing something different. You got to
and a zeitgeist, really.
Exactly, and you got to hit at the right time, you know. And and if you get momentum, you need to keep it. And I think that's really where X Defiant fucked up. They had momentum, if you remember, during that beta.
And they took it offline,
right? And they took it all offline, and they didn't come back for months, and they lost all their momentum right then and there. That's really where it's a lot like what the fuck was that, the Smash game with the Looney Tunes guys?
Oh, Multiverse.
Yeah. That game had a moment too. That game had momentum, took it offline, tried to come back, failed immediately. It's, if you get momentum and you get an audience, even a little bit of an audience, you got to keep it. You got to keep going. You know, I know it's hard when you plan a beta and then you're like, okay, guys, we'll fully launch in 6 months. See you then. You really can't do that now. You know, it's like when you come out, you got to come out, you got to hit hard, and you get a little bit of an audience, you got to keep it and then grow that. You know, that's I mean, look at a game like Siege, right, which is also on the Ubisoft. That game had a super small audience when it first launched, and they just grew it. They just took their time and grew it, right? That is not what they did with. They did have like
the loyal like Rainbow Six audience, you know, that like likes that like sub series. But yeah, they kept adding heroes for years.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just they had the small audience, and then they kept growing it.
They did that with the Division 1,
right?
As well.
Yeah, and it's like that's
right around that same time.
What you got to keep doing. You can't just come out, have momentum, go away for a while, come back again, and expect that momentum to still be there, because it won't be. You know, people are gonna move on. They're gonna go back to their old games, and you know,
Too many games.
There's too many games and too many people sticking around on old games still, right? So it's just, I don't know, it's damn near impossible to break through in that market at this point. If I'm a publisher, I'm just, and you got a team developing a free-to-play multiplayer thing, I'm just backing the fuck out. You know, it's just impossible.
Unless you think that
point.
idea is unique.
Right. Yeah. Unless you like really believe in it and really think it's gonna hit and really have top level talent behind it, it's just fucking impossible now, and it's just gonna keep.
Yeah, it's
happening.
kind of crazy because Ubisoft is good at making shooters.
Sure.
Like they're not maybe always the bad. Like they don't feel as good as Call of Duty, but like Rainbow Six, like they're great shooters that they make.
Competent shooter for sure.
Yeah. And it's like if like Ubisoft is struggling to do it, it's like they're huge.
Yeah.
It's like everyone has to be struggling.
Yeah. And then you're still just competing with the big dogs, right? Like Call of Duty's releasing every year on point, you know? It's like that's gonna take over for at least a couple months every year on point, you know? It's
and then there's those Call of Duty loyalists that's what they play.
Right, and that's all they play, right? And then
Yeah.
next year you're gonna have Battlefield, and that's gonna come back, and that's gonna be big, and that's gonna have a moment. And then on top of that, you're competing with Warzone, you're competing with Fortnite, you're competing with all these other Destiny, Apex, all this other shit. And it's just so hard to break in when all those guys are also pumping out new shit and trying to keep their audience and get new players in at the same time. It's just it's a fucking headache, man. It really is.
It's crazy. Yeah, and Ubisoft is just in a weird way. They it feels like they're taking some risks, but then like are scared to take others. Like they'll take a risk with Prince of Persia, which is like, you know, I think one of the best games this year, and then not really take a risk more on X Defiant when that's like a free to play shooter, you know? Like I guess there's more money that they made or that it took to make X Defiant, I would assume, because it probably took years to make that game. But like you should be putting more eggs in that basket than like a Prince of Persia. Even though I'm happy they did with Prince of Persia. That's a really amazing game. So I don't know. They're just they really need to like sit down and figure out what is wrong and what they need to do in the future. And it can't just be Assassin's Creed only.
Yeah.
Like that's not a future that's going to work.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think they were trying, right? They were trying with the Disney IPs with Star Wars and Avatar. But
Star Wars, yeah.
Both those games came out and failed. Ubisoft is having a horrible year. Like this is probably
Prince of Persia is the only bright spot.
Yeah, I guess they do have Prince of Persia at least, but that game it still didn't sell a lot, right?
Yeah.
It very well received critically, but it still didn't come out and sell that much. And I'm sure that game wasn't that expensive to make or anything, so they're probably fine with that. But yeah, other than Prince of Persia, Star Wars Outlaws came, crashed, and burned. X Defiant, they're shutting down already. It's just there. Assassin's Creed got delayed. They're having a horrible year right now. So I don't know. With all the rumors of them getting sold off too, I'd definitely be worried for Ubisoft at the moment because they need a win and they need to win bad right now.
I think they're just hoping that Assassin's Creed Shadows is that win.
That game has to hit. Like that has to be the best Assassin's Creed in a very
Ghost of
long
Yote
time.
is also next year.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm way more excited for that game.
Right. Yeah, and that should be worrisome for them because especially with how packed February is right now too. Obviously, I think Assassin's Creed's still the top dog right there. Actually, no.
Is there a date for it?
Yeah, it's February 14th, something like that. So, yeah, horrible. It's in the middle of February with all those games.
Like a Dragon,
Monster Hunter. They really got to worry about that.
Everyone needs to worry about that game.
Yeah, dude, that game's gonna be huge, and it's coming out right next to that as well.
Like a Dragon needs.
I was just saying, like Assassin's Creed, the top dog. They might not be actually. Monster Hunter's probably the top dog in that month. So, and plus you got Avowed on top of that coming out right there, and I think on the same fucking day, and it's like that's gonna take away some of that audience as well. Like. You put Assassin's Creed and Avowed right in front of me. I'm picking Avowed personally. So,
they're hoping that the average person doesn't, though.
Right, and I'm sure the average person wouldn't. I know the average person wouldn't because Assassin's Creed is just a much bigger name. But still, between Monster Hunter and all the other games you just mentioned and Avowed and that, it's gonna take away a huge chunk of people that would buy Assassin's Creed. I would buy Assassin's Creed if it was coming out in a dead period. If it was coming out January 15th instead of February 15th, I would buy Assassin's Creed
or
probably.
Even just further. Go in March.
Yeah, go in
Or
March.
something.
I don't know. March is dead right now, but I'm sure that's gonna get filled up any day now. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough, and it's
I
not
mean,
like
we're
Assassin's
thinking,
Creed should really be scared of anything else, but when it is around a bunch of other big games, yeah, you got to be a little worried.
especially for Ubisoft in the spot they're in.
Yeah, yeah. Especially
You
if it
know,
comes out and it doesn't run well, if it has a lot of problems, if the story doesn't hit, it's got to be a good Assassin's Creed.
yeah, this has got to be a return to form, and it's already been what 4 years now since the last Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, yeah, which is a huge
Or
gap.
no, I guess unless you consider Mirage, that was
Oh
what
yeah,
2 years
Mirage.
ago.
Yeah, yeah,
You
good
consider
point.
that like in between game, but for like a big Assassin's Creed, it's been 4 years with
Yeah,
Valhalla, and it's like that's been a long time since people have gotten a nice big Assassin's Creed. So people are definitely going to be hungry for it. People love that franchise. I know people love Valhalla. Just wait until maybe the end of the year.
yeah.
I know the
I
GTA
wonder
is
if they
there,
have Far
but
Cry in their back pocket for the end of next year.
yeah,
Yeah,
or at least like maybe fall time, like right before GTA, maybe
right. Yeah,
August,
or after. I don't know,
July.
depending on when GTA comes out. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean that's another thing they got to worry about then too, right? If Far Cry is next fall,
you got to come out before it.
and then they got GTA to worry about as well. So, yeah, I don't know. Looking dicey for Ubisoft just in general.
Yeah, for sure. I don't really know what they need to do. They just need to. I think they just need to get in the gamers' good graces again, and then start working from there. But
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
And I mean, they almost had that with Prince, right? But
Yeah,
then they go back and have a bunch of layoffs on that team, and are like, "Hey, we're remaking Rayman." It's like, all right,
can it just be a new Rayman game? Why does
right.
that
At the
be a
very
remake of
least,
a Rayman game? You can play those games on
dude,
modern consoles.
with the shit that was bring back Splinter Cell for sure. I mean, that would at least help somewhat. It's not gonna be like a gigantic win, but like a win nonetheless if it's good.
Where's a new Rainbow Six game? How about that?
Yeah, yeah. Rainbow Six
Like
Siege
Vegas
2.
3
Yeah, yeah.
or Siege
Vegas
2?
3
Yeah.
would be fucking awesome.
I want Vegas 3.
Yeah, oh dude, you give me the Vegas 3, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
I'll be all up in that. Yeah.
You're gonna be off on those guts?
Oh yeah, all up in those guts. In fact, hey, what happens in Vegas, Daniel?
Oh my god. We need to move on.
Well, we have no more news stories, so we can't move
There's
on.
only one other one.
Oh, did you put another one
surprised
in
you
here?
didn't add. No, I just saw it. I didn't really go online,
Oh,
but
what is it?
about Shuei leaving PlayStation.
Oh, we talked about that last week.
Did
A
you?
little bit.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
last
yeah. We
week.
touched
Okay.
that. Yeah. It did. Was there anything you wanted to say on Chulu?
No, I just
Oh.
think hopefully it's good for him. Hopefully he like can go do more indies things that he likes to do. He likes to prop up indie games, so hopefully he can find a really good outlet for that. Like I'm excited to see what he does. And it's kind of a big miss for PlayStation. Like losing a guy like this. Like could they not keep him? Is there like did he really just not want to be there or they just not like did they not care? Like I want to
Yeah.
know a little bit more. Like I would throw him whatever money to keep doing the indie stuff for you. Like isn't that not what you guys want? Or is that not what you guys want now? You just want the big stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is really tough to say there. He goes out and finds random indie games for PlayStation to partner with and all that stuff. He was a big part of Stellar Blade too. He went out, found that team, got that team under Sony, so or at least that game. So yeah, I don't know what their mindset is there. Maybe they build that role with someone else. Who knows? Really,
You would hope.
yeah, it's tough to say there. Really, yeah, I don't. Yeah, whatever he does though, because he did say he wants to continue working in the industry. So be a big pickup for someone. I don't know who, but or where he ends up going. But yeah, cool guy. I mean, he was always really fun to listen to on Beyond and kind of funny content stuff back in the day.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've been able to hear from him, but yeah, was
I
always
think he's just in the
a fun
background.
listen. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, he
PlayStation
seems like
just
such a
doesn't
nice guy.
put people forward anymore. They don't have
Yeah.
people talking. They don't do podcasts. They don't do interviews and stuff like that anymore. They don't even have like a Phil Spencer. I know Herman's supposed to kind of fill that role, but like it's not like you hear from him like you do Phil or anything. So yeah, PlayStation really took away the having faces of their company. It just is PlayStation. And so there's positives and negatives to that, and I could definitely understand why they did that, but it is a shame when you have fun people like
soulless though. Yeah.
Say that again.
A little more soulless though when you have people like Shu.
For sure. I just think there's also a really negative side of that where like Phil gets blamed for everything bad Xbox
He
does
talks too much.
and gets a lot of harassment. Like the whole when people were
Yeah.
bombing Phil's place on Fallout 76, right? And they were nuking his shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you're gonna get a lot of dumb shit like that. And I'm sure as the president, Phil doesn't mind taking that, but yeah, when you do put more faces forward, you are gonna get blamed for a lot of imagine Shu being out now and having to hear about Concord every fucking 10 seconds, right? It's just like what a headache that would be for people like that. So there's positives and negatives there, but yeah, it is a shame when you have people like Shu that are like really fun and stuff to listen to interviews and all that.
Yeah, I would hope that he would go to I don't think he's going to go to these two places, but I hope he would go to some place like Devolver or Annapurna or something like that, like that we
That'd be
already
cool.
look at, like really places that you get good indies.
Yeah.
And he could shine even more there because that's all they do. But
I'd
I doubt that
imagine he stays at a Japanese company.
I was
If
going to say I
anything,
doubt
yeah.
that he would go to some more Japanese type.
Yeah,
company.
it sounded like he had to travel a fuck ton. So I'd imagine he probably wants to stay
I'm
home
sure.
now. Like, all right, I'm done traveling, getting older now too. So it's like, stay home, go work somewhere else. I don't know, Capcom on him or something like that. That'd be cool.
I was thinking Bandai or Capcom.
Yeah. Like I doubt it'd be Nintendo, but I mean that's
They just
obviously
don't really
there.
do.
Yeah, they don't really do hires like that, and it seems like Nintendo, like you're brought in early and you stay there forever. So
Yes,
yeah, it's
sure.
they don't really do stuff like that. Yeah, like that. I don't know. Tencent is an option too, which wouldn't be great,
I
but
hope not.
is an option, man. It's definitely on the table. So
Unless
yeah,
I
I don't
threw
know.
him a lot of money.
Yeah, he can also do just like consulting work in the background. We might never hear from
Yeah.
him again, stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know, but definitely a fun guy. Well, it was definitely fun to listen to back in the day with Beyond.
Yeah.
Mm.
Good luck, Chu.
Good luck, Chu. That's gonna do it for the news of the weekend. I thought indie reviews would be out, Indiana Jones reviews would be up and out, but I think I thought I read it 7 a.m., but I think it's 7 p.m. So
Today,
keep more
really?
out,
Okay.
yeah, today.
When does it release? Is it?
The early access comes out tomorrow, and then it officially launches on Tuesday next week. So yeah. Hey there, everybody. Just ignore that. Nothing happened. Daniel had to take a giant shit this week, so
Oh, it was me.
that's what I said about Sims last week.
Oh,
Not this week, it's you.
oof.
We could blame Sims again, actually.
I lost like 10 pounds.
Oh, yeah, good for you. Good for you. You should have got the haircut and then came back. Just like, oh, yeah. Nothing
New
happened.
person, new me.
Daniel, we're now getting into what we've been playing. Daniel, what have you been playing?
Not a ton. I put like another maybe hour or so into Call of Duty multiplayer, playing some of that. Haven't played zombies yet. Yeah, I really like the multiplayer. The maps aren't like bad maps. They're pretty. There's a couple that I like. A couple that are kind of just fine. I don't think there's anyone that I'm like, I don't really like this map too much.
There's one that is so chaotic. It's the one in like a hotel and like all the rooms are connected and it's like a giant square. You know what I'm talking about? And it's like there's like the patios and it's just like a giant. Yeah, it's a hotel. It's definitely a hotel.
Yeah,
like
I'd have to like see it.
whenever you
like,
play, what's the one where you like capture the different zones?
Domination.
Yeah, that
for the
one.
3 points?
Yeah, it gets so chaotic. It's just every
Yeah.
time you spawn, just, you're dead.
You're dead.
Dead.
Yeah, I usually play search and destroy, so it's like it's a little different for me to like learn the maps, like and how I learn the maps, just for how that game mode is set up. But yeah, I played like maybe another hour. But I also played maybe like 3-4 hours of Space Marine 2 last night. Yeah, this game's pretty great so far. It's like the spectacle of everything is really impressive for this being, I would consider, more of a AA game. Like some of the cutscenes are still kind of AA. There's a few cutscenes that look pretty great, but a lot of the cutscenes are definitely like not up to standard, which is fine. It doesn't need to be super crazy graphically because it plays really well. Just looking at like footage of the game, you would think like, man, these big space marines are super slow because they're huge in the screen, but like moving Titus around, like it feels pretty snappy. Like he has a dodge button. The dodge is fairly quick for the size of the character on the screen. You're fighting a lot of enemies. I'd say the game is, I wouldn't say it's hard, but I'd say it's fairly challenging in that I feel like you take a lot of damage very quickly. But they give you a lot of tools to deal with that. There's a parry mechanic. There's these these guys with two swords. They run at you with like shielding. You have to like parry them in order to like kill them, really. And I hate them so much. But using like the chain sword, super cool, like to cut like the smaller enemies because they'll just swarm you. It feels really good, really bloody. I just got the jetpack. The jetpack feels pretty cool. You basically like get a boost up in the air. You can hover. You can also shoot in the air. But there's also like a ground pound, like what was it, Halo 5? You
Yeah,
can like fly and ground pound. You can basically do that with like whatever your melee weapon is.
that's
So
cool.
you can like charge down into another big swarm of enemies. Um, yeah, it's very fun. Uh, there's no cover. It's not really a cover-based third-person shooter. You are just kind of dealing with swarms. You're not like getting into cover and shooting.
Does it play a lot like
You want,
Gears? Because that's what I hear people comparing it to the most. But there's
mm,
no cover. That doesn't really sound super
not in
Gears.
that
Yeah.
way. I could see it being inspired with like big guys
Yeah.
shooting. Um, Similar, like you only have a limited amount of space for weapons, so you have to swap in and out like Gears. Um, Here, there's like a melee weapon as well. So you have like a pistol and a regular weapon, and then a melee weapon. Um, I've been using just kind of an auto bolt rifle, pretty standard. Um, the pistols, there's only a few that I've seen. There's like a regular bolt pistol, there's a heavy bolt pistol, and a plasma pistol. I haven't tried the plasma one yet. I like the regular bolt pistol more than the heavy one. And then the melees I've seen, there's like a combat knife, which almost, it's not really a knife, it's kind of like a short sword almost. He holds it like upside down. Use that right in the beginning. It's good. It's good to parry. It's like the best parry one if you like to parry a lot. But I've been using the chainsword.
Interesting. There's a
Um,
lot of melee. I didn't realize there
a
was a lot of
lot
melee.
more
Yeah.
melee than like Gears. Like that was really what the big difference is.
Yeah.
It's like Gears is like a cover shooter with like, I guess in 2 you get the shield and you can like shoot with the
Oh yeah.
pistol.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Gears is a cover shooter. This is more like melee with shooter with melee, being a little more aggressive in how you're fighting. Um, yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. The story, there's a lot of terms. Um, Really don't need to play Space Marine 2 unless you want to know what Titus did before this. Um, they kind of just no spoilers. They definitely pull a Mass Effect 2.
Mm.
Uh, it's a longer intro though. Like you play a whole mission instead of like opening cutscene to Mass Effect 2 in the ship. Or do you control that right in Mass Effect 2? You like control like a little bit, right? And then there becomes a
Yeah. You
cutscene.
you like walk through the ship for a little
You walk through
while.
the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here it's like there's a whole mission you do, and then like Titus dies or whatever, and then
Yeah.
he gets like a some sort of like superhuman surgery basically. Even though he's already a Marine, so he already is like a super soldier, but he gets like more.
Super
He's
duper
like
soldier
he's
now.
like yeah, he's super duper
Yeah.
soldier. Um, and then you get assigned to like a new squad, and you have like 2 guys with you.
Yeah. I
Um,
was wondering how much you had to have knowledge of the first Space Marine to
there's
go
like
on the second
terms.
one. Yeah.
I'm kind of seeing how it goes, like as I go. Like
Or just Warhammer in general. Like I've never played any of those.
yeah, they're throwing some terms. I'm
Yeah.
trying to like understand. Like
Keep up a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not super lost yet, but like I could see me being lost because
Getting there.
they
Yeah.
call like, I think they call them Primarchs is what like you are now, which was like the super soldiers. Um, yeah, and there's like there was just a reveal of like Chaos Marines. You don't see them, but like they're like crazy people. that seemingly who are going to be some enemies, I guess, maybe down the line in the campaign. Yeah, there's a lot of Warhammer lore that I don't really know, so we'll see if it like goes over my head. I know Sloan has already played this game, so I can always ask him questions. But yeah, it's great so far.
Cool. Yeah, it looked good. I want to play it at some point, but yeah, I don't know.
It's
I
not
don't know
super
when I'll
long.
get on with that. Yeah, I heard the campaign's pretty quick. Did you jump into the multiplayer at all? Trying that?
Not the multiplayer. There's also the operations.
Yeah.
So they kind of tie the operations, from what I gather, into the story. So the like you first see this like squad of 3, and like Titus is like talking to him, and he's like getting them to like do this thing so it can clear room for him to do his thing. So apparently the operations are that crew, and I've already seen 2 operations, and it's like they're doing stuff and Titus's team's doing stuff. So you play as that crew during the story, which is I think a pretty cool thing. It's not just some random missions you're doing, like random whatever 3-player co-op missions. They're actually tied in, and it looks like this is also just the main campaign is 3-player co-op as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like
So there's a lot of content here. It being multiplayer. There's 3 different big game modes. So.
Yeah. Seems like a classic 360 period type of game almost.
That's why I think the comparison to Gears is there, because I think the first game was made after Gears' popularity and it being a third-person shooter. So
how old is the first game now? Is that like
probably
10 years almost, right?
Probably more than that. Now it's a 360 game.
Yeah, was it? Yeah, it must be more
than
that then.
2010, 2011?
2011, yeah, so it's been a while.
Yeah. People have been wanting the sequel for a while. Yeah, it's great. I really like it so far.
What have I been playing? I talked about Balacha already. Got my first dub. That was cool. That was cool. I've been playing Prop Hunt in Call of Duty, finally.
Yes, you've been waiting for that.
Dude, I've been waiting so long. Because they were like, oh, it's coming in this update, right? I think like the last time I talked to you, I said it was coming in. Yeah, it was season 1. But then they were like, oh, no, it doesn't come until the mid-season update. So that just came out like last week, like Wednesday, something like that. So yeah, I was playing a good amount of that. It's always funny.
That's your game of the year.
Just Prop Hunt. It's always funny because like you can tell people don't know like the props yet, you know, so it's like really easy to hide now, but eventually everyone's gonna learn all of them. Get good at right until everybody figures it out, knows all the props and stuff like that. So yeah, it's still funny though. It's just an hilarious game type. You know, it's like I'm a bench, you know, and this guy, I'm gonna put the bench here, and this guy's just gonna walk right past me every 3 seconds and try to find me, and he doesn't know where I am, and I'm just a bench. Like I was like putting shit in a dumb spot, like and now I'm a stop sign underwater. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Why is there a stop sign underwater? Like they're never gonna find me. They don't know. So yeah, I really like Prop Hunt. I've been putting more time into that. Kind of wearing off on my Call of Duty phase now. But I was into it for a little while there, so yeah, best COD game in years. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, probably since the 2019 game.
Yeah, definitely up there for me. It was a good time. But
I mean, this is I think an all timer for Call of Duty.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, definitely coming off it now. So yeah, I was looking for something to play last week, and I was debating between Warhammer and Dragon Ball, and I ended up going Dragon Ball because I was just like, you know, I'm a big Dragon Ball fan, so I should probably play this and check it out at some point. And, I like it quite a bit. It's pretty fun. It was definitely really hard to wrap my head around at first, and try to learn fighters. Try to figure out all the mechanics. There was a huge learning curve for this game. Like I didn't like it at first, probably like the first hour.
3D fighters are very different.
Yeah, dude. Like the first hour I played it, I was just like really confused, trying to find my way, trying to figure out everything. Play through the tutorials, and that helps a good amount, but I still didn't really have a grasp on everything for a while. Like I said, it was just a huge learning curve with this game. But once I started getting it and I was able to actually do stuff, like this game is not a pick up and play and you're going to have fun, you know, like I think most fighting games are pick up and play and you can at least find the fun in it. You know, you're not going to be good or anything, but you pick up Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or something like that. You can play a match or two and have a good time and still win and, you know, put it on easy or whatever. This game, no, you can't do any of that. Like I went on easy on the story mode and I was just getting my ass whooped, you know? So it was like, you really got to sit down and commit to learning the controls and everything. Cause it's just, there's so many buttons, so many button combinations and they all do different things. And you know, even just holding a button for a second longer does a different thing than just tapping it. So it's like, you really got to figure it out. But once you do figure it out, man, it's just like this game is like really flashy and very cinematic. It just they really nailed making it feel like you're playing an episode of Dragon Ball, you know, or just a fight that you're watching, just with the whole like teleport thing and shooting the Kamehameha's out and stuff like that. And it's funny when you get into like, I was playing online, and when you both get like the teleport thing down, because it's like teleport is also your block button, but if you time it right, it's almost like a parry where you can teleport behind them if you time it right at the time they're about to hit you, and you'll teleport right behind them.
So you just be
then you go back and forth.
Other.
Yeah, if the other guy gets the timing down too, so it's like you just go back and forth. Yeah, like an episode of Dragon Ball, right? So it's really funny when you get that kind of stuff down. And yeah, now I'm able to play the story on normal and win just fine. And I'm having a good time with that. So the story is mostly like you pick a character. There'll be like Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and they got other ones too. Not too many. I think there's like 8 in all. And there's like 4 good guys and 4 villains. The villains are like Frieza, Goku Black, and a couple other ones.
Boo, probably.
No, not Boo. Boo isn't one of them. It's
Boo?
No, yeah. It is disappointing on the ones you didn't. So that no, not Cell. It's a lot of the super ones actually.
Jiren.
Yeah, Jiren. Jiren's one of them. Goku Black, Frieza. I forget who the other villain one is. But so yeah, I've been having a fun time going through those. The story is mostly, it's just like you could keep it the same, right? As like the story that was told in Dragon Ball. But then there's alternate paths too that they call like the what if stories, and that do different things. And what's kind of weird about those is you have to do different objectives within the normal mission to unlock that. Mm-hmm. And you have to do that on normal, so there's definitely a big barrier. It's like you're gonna have to commit and learn the game if you want to unlock those and be able to do those things. But yeah, once I got good enough, then I delved into the more of the what if side, and it's just in general, I wouldn't say like this is how you should consume Dragon Ball for the first time. If you're like at all interested, I would watch the show before you play these, because obviously it's just gonna spoil everything, and it's just kind of like a quick recap of everything.
I guess that's kind of like what Kakarot did too, right?
Yeah,
like that open game.
Yeah, I would say that delves even more and gives you more details probably than what this does. This is very quick, like 3-minute cutscene explaining everything, and then all of a sudden we're in a different saga, you know? So, yeah, I definitely wouldn't do this if you haven't watched Dragon Ball yet. I would definitely watch that first and then go through it. But the alternate paths are cool. They're kind of all just like...
It's a cool idea.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. I wish they went deeper with it, because they're all kind of just like, hey, what if Goku wasn't the main character and this guy was instead? You know, like Gohan's was just straight up like, oh, Goku's not the main character. Gohan is. You know,
we talked about that. Because that's what should have happened.
Gohan's what if is so just like, oh, he's badass and cool now.
Me and Sloan, because we're both. That's his favorite thing.
Yeah.
Me and him complained about Gohan not being the main character so much.
Oh, he's horrible. He's horrible in Super too, because he's just the fucking nerd now.
That's what it should have been. The story was building to him being the main character, and he chose not to do that.
Oh yeah, I mean, after the Cell saga, I was just like, oh, let's just make Gohan a nerd and focus on that. And so Gohan's what if is really what if Goku and Vegeta weren't the main characters and Gohan is, and that's really for all of Super. And so that's cool. It's cool to see that, but it is just kind of replace Goku with Gohan, and you know the story already. So yeah, but it's cool to see like team ups there. Like it's really cool during Super, because Future Trunks comes back, and you know Future Trunks has the whole mentor thing with Gohan and his timeline, and so it kind of reconnects Gohan with Future Trunks in Future Trunks timeline, and so that's like a really cool connection, stuff like that. Goku's were actually a bit more interesting. His what ifs were a bit more interesting, because that actually like changes things. Like the first one is he doesn't die against Raditz. Like he doesn't team up with Piccolo, and you're able to beat Raditz just with Goku, and so that leads to a whole different circumstance. And
Piccolo being a villain or something?
No, Piccolo still teams up with them. See, it all kind of leads to the same spot again, but it's just different how you get there. But it's like Frieza invades Earth instead of Namek at that point, and it's like, oh, that's cool. That's a cool idea. Yeah, it's just little shit like that. But yeah, the game's super fun once you get it down, once you learn the mechanics. It is cheap. Like the game is just, especially when you go online, like everyone's just picking, you know, like Super Goku, you know, from super, like the strongest version of Goku, the strongest version of Vegeta, and you kind of have to do that if you want to win. You can't go in there, you can't pick fucking like Goten or Teen Gohan or something like that
Really? That's kind
and
of
win.
lame.
Yeah, it is lame. It's not a balanced fighting game at all. At all. I think the developers even admit, like, yeah, do not try to play this game like competitively, because it is not really made for that. This
I
game
like
is
that
definitely.
there's so many characters though.
Yeah,
That's
there
cool.
are a fuck ton, but like they all, a lot of them control the same too. So it's just kind of
Yeah.
like, yeah, they're not like that different, you know. And a lot of them are just Gohan, Teen Gohan, Super Saiyan Gohan, you know, and stuff like that. So they're all kind of the same there.
What
But
was
it is cool how many
Saiyaman?
there are there. Yeah, they have that, you know. It's just like they count different skins
lame.
as the same character, as a different character rather. So
Yeah.
but they're really like it. I mean, it just looks super cool when you're playing it, and it really is all about getting your like finisher move though. Like if you can get that and land it on someone, you can turn a whole match around. I could have one health bar left and be in an online match, and then get my get my finisher, and do that, and then while you're down for my finisher, get my finisher up again, because you have to like charge up your key or whatever, and then do my finisher again, and then I win. You know, if you wanted to. So it is just like a super cheap fighting game. Don't go into it expecting like a competitive thing. Yeah, you're just here to have a good time, and it is a good time. It's flashy, it's fun, it looks cool, and if you like Dragon Ball, you're definitely gonna have a good time with it.
How do you like this compared to Fighters?
Ooh, I definitely like Fighters more.
real
Yeah, Fighters was real good. I definitely like that. Just that art style too. I loved in
Yeah, it
Fighters.
looks so good.
Yeah. Fighters was definitely a better game, just in general, I would say.
Okay.
This is still very fun. It's more unique, and definitely in the realm of 3D fighters. It's definitely a good one, I would say.
Do you think this is like in your top 10? Maybe. Is
Maybe,
gonna sneak
yeah,
in
it
there
might
by the
slide
end of the
in,
year?
you know, towards like the bottom half of the list. Maybe if I had to guess,
I know you
I'm not
probably haven't
entirely
really
sure
thought
yet.
too hard yet about it.
Yeah, not really. I want to get through a couple more things before I really decide all that. But yeah, I could see it sliding in at like 9 or 10 or whatever. Not like super high up or anything, but I could see it getting in there. I do like it enough. I mean, that just, if you like Dragon Ball, you're gonna like it, right? So, and I do. So yeah, it's yeah, I could see it sliding in there.
Cool. Are you playing anything else?
No, waiting for Indiana Jones. I got the early access thing because you know, Xbox always gets me with that shit. You know what they do
got you with
is
Starfield too.
they do, man. Because they put it on the early access on a Friday, you know, and that way I can play it over the weekend. And it's like, that's a huge difference for me, because I play a vast majority of my gaming time is on the weekend, and that's like, that's a deal breaker for me. It's like, oh, you want to pay $30 to play Indiana Jones right now instead of waiting till Tuesday? That's the difference between me coming on here next week and having beaten it, or maybe beaten it and like getting close, or only having played like an hour or two if it comes out on Tuesday, or if I got it on Tuesday, right? So yeah, they get me with that early access stuff. They know what they're doing, putting it out on Friday.
And then we also have the Keeleys. They're this next week, right?
Yeah, that'll be next week, Thursday. So yeah, we won't even get to talk about that next week, but we'll talk about that the week after.
That's exciting. Anything else coming out next week? Isn't there another game that comes out next week?
No.
Oh, the Power Rangers game,
there's
right?
that Power Ranger game. Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
Are you? Yeah, that beat 'em up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I like my beat 'em ups.
Yeah, I might play that too. Why not?
Probably not super long.
Yeah, probably be quick, right?
The original series too. That's like my favorite one.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm excited for a Power Rangers game. You
Yeah.
know, it's who's making that? That's what's their name? Digital Eclipse. They're making that game actually. The one that does all those new like retro like documentary games.
Yeah.
They're making this one, and it looks great. I'm super excited for that one.
Yeah, I wanted to check out that Tetris game. That one that's like part documentary, part Tetris. Yeah, Tetris Forever. Yeah, that looks cool. I like Tetris a lot. So yeah, I might.
I've thought about it too.
Yeah, I might pick that up at some point and just play around with that. And
it might be on a sale right now.
Yeah, I'm still gonna chip away at Dragon Ball, because there's some more side stories and stuff I can do. So still gonna chip away at that. But yeah, really look forward to Indy. Curious about these reviews, what it's gonna land at.
Me too.
But
I mean, what are you thinking? You have it on the fantasy team.
Yeah, I do. I think it's gonna be good. Like, I think Indiana Jones is a good IP to make a game around, and I think Machine Games is a very competent team. So I'm gonna say like 84. I guess. Yeah,
mid 80s,
right around there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a solid guess.
Yeah.
I'll
like
probably,
the hype for it. Like, not seeing a lot of people talk about it, but I don't know.
It's just
Hopefully,
the
when it
Indiana
actually
Jones
comes out.
IP, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sadly, even though I love Indiana Jones, it's just that IP is just in a weird way, and it's also just like late in the year.
Yeah.
I think people are winding down in general.
Yeah.
Kind of for the holidays, but yeah, I'm very excited for it. I'd probably say 85,
85. Yeah.
86,
Right around there. Yeah.
kind of where I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to remember where Wolfenstein 2 was at. That was like a 87 or something, right?
Yeah. That was like high 80s. So
Yeah.
I'm
I don't
looking
think it's
around
going to be
there.
quite there.
Yeah, it
But
sounds like it's a much different game from those, which is interesting. So I don't know, maybe a little bit below that, just because it is such a different game. But I still think Machine Game's gonna knock it out of the park, whatever they do.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think they're going to tell a fun story.
yeah,
Yeah, apparently Troy Baker's performance is super awesome.
yeah,
I can't
yeah.
wait to like experience that.
He sounds great in just like trailers and shit. So
Yeah, I haven't seen too much
yeah,
personally, so
I saw like the
haven't really.
launch trailer and something the other day. So
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
yeah,
I saw that it came out on YouTube. It was like a recommended. I'm like, don't show me that. I don't
need
want
to
to
see
see
that.
your launch trailer. I'm gonna play this game. Yeah, I'm very excited for the game.
yeah, me too, me too. Should be the last big one of the year, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to jump into Metaphor after that, and that'll probably take me all the way till next December. So that'll be my game of the year 2025, because that'll be the only game I get through. All right then, people, that's gonna do it for Nerdcast Podcast episode 252. Thank you all so much for watching. Please remember to subscribe to us over at youtube.com/nerdicgods. You can also find us available on all audio platforms. Daniel, anything else you want to say?
You think how many snakes? How long is it gonna take you for you to see a snake in that game?
Oh, God,
What's the snake?
I'm gonna guess
time?
like 10 minutes. Like there's gonna, whatever
10
the
minutes?
opening
That first
scene is,
mission?
you know, because there's gonna be like a big cinematic opening scene, you know, something like that, and like I get to see him. He's like going through the vines, and like a snake falls down or something.
He
He's
grabs the vine and it's
like,
actually a
it's
snake.
a snake. Yeah, he's like, I hate snakes, you know.
I hate snakes.
Yeah, that'll be my guess. 10
10
minutes.
Okay.
All right,
I
everybody.
want you to count.
Yeah, I will. I'll time it.
Yeah, please count for me.
Did we think short rounds in it at all?
It's in between 2 and 3. So
no.
Or 1 and 3. I'm sorry. It's in between 1 and 3. So no.
Oh yeah, 1 and 3, right? You don't think he makes a little cameo? I mean, how many years is 1 after Temple of Doom?
It's like a year, I think.
It's like a year. So he's still okay.
I think
be running around there.
Yeah, I think you'll probably see Sala before you'd see anybody else.
Oh.
I think that's the big
Yeah.
reveal. Sala's going to be.
I could see that. Okay. Oh, we'll find out. We'll talk about it next week. All right. See you then, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.